This is WaXed.
Well, holla, you surfers, you goddamn nerds. I'm just kidding. We're all part of the tribe. How are the brakes looking? Got some lefts, some rights, some green rooms, A-frames.
A weekly surf talk radio show.
Hopefully when you go out there, you'll find your green card and surf on the home. Poser.
With your hosts, Cyrus, Saatsaz.
All I need are some tasty waves, cool buzz, and I'm fine.
Omar, Etcheverry.
Locals only, you grommet. Stay off my beach!
And Natalie Rose with the news and weekend surf report.
Surfing is out of this world. You just can't imagine the thrill of shooting the curl. It positively surpasses every living emotion I've ever had.
On ESPN 1700.
Yeah, welcome to another edition of WaXed. I'm your host, Cyrus Saatsaz. In just moments, one of my partners in crime, Omar, is going to join me. We're going to have a great show this morning. Still feels like evening. It's like dark when we came in. The one downside of the time change of those dark mornings. But fantastic show today. In just a few moments, we're going to have Kassia Meador. She's a Roxy girl in a Roxy world, and she's going to join the show in about 10 minutes. Coming up next in just a few moments, we're going to have a surf report for the entire weekend. Natalie Rose is going to have that. A lot going on in surf news. We'll cover that in the second half of the show. And make sure you follow us on Twitter. Our handle is WaXed Radio. That's WaXed Radio. We're on Twitter and all that good stuff. Our website, WaXed Radio, should be online in moments. We're almost done finishing the website, but that's going to be happening. But again, name of the program is WaXed, Surf Talk Radio. This is our encore show, round two of what should be a very long, fantastic performance. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have your weekend surf report with Natalie Rose. And in about 10 minutes, Kassia Meador, a Roxy girl in a Roxy world, and the girl can definitely longboard as well. This is WaXed on ESPN 1700.
Visit our website, waxedradio.com, to get complete show podcasts and follow us on all social media at WaXed Radio. Now, here's your weekend surf report.
Yeah, we're going to start doing this at right near the top of every show. It is Saturday morning, the prime time to give you a weekend surf report. Dude, we're in like the surf mecca of the mainland U.S. Hawaii is the only place, in my opinion, and arguably the world, that competes with us in terms of quality of waves. It's never too hot, never too cold. This is primo locale. What is the weekend surf report? Natalie Rose is going to have it each week. How's the surf looking?
It's looking pretty fun out there. This weekend, a south-southwest swell and a northwest swell mix continues throughout the weekend. Waves rolling in anywhere from 2 to 4 feet due to a nice combo of swells. Some coastal areas are reaching head-high to overhead waves. This morning, you better stay in and listen to the rest of the show because the wind won't be as strong later in the morning. As for Sunday's winds, as long as you get wet in the morning before that west-southwest wind kicks up, in the afternoon, you should be fine. Tides all weekend, high in the morning, low in the afternoons. Tides are always a factor, so make sure you time it right. That's your weekend surf report. As you can see, we have some waves to ride. So put away your longboards and grab your shortboards and go get shacked. This is Natalie Rose, and I hope to see you hotties in the water.
Thank you, Natalie Rose. You know, you and I were at the Beachwood yesterday in Pacific Beach, and awesome bar. It's like a 3-level bar. We were there helping out Darren Smith on our sister station, the Mighty 1090, and the roof of that joint, and again, this is in Pacific Beach, right in the heart of it. We had a fantastic view of the ocean, and you and I were checking it out. There's definitely a swell that's hitting, as you just mentioned, all of Southern California. And you and I were having an argument. I was telling you those waves were easily head high. You're like, no, at the most, maybe the sets are head high. And there in your surf report, you're telling me that there's going to be head high to overhead waves hitting the area.
I think it's going to be bigger this weekend, but yesterday I would say it was chest. I don't think it quite peaked yet.
It was easy head. There were some easy head high waves out there. There were guys that were like, and the intervals were so tiny. People couldn't paddle out for the life of them. They were just stuck in the whitewash that seemed to be never ending. But the surf is going to be good this weekend. Do you have any preferred spots people should go to?
Well, the southwest swell is supposed to hit on Sunday, so excuse me, I definitely would say like a beach break, maybe somewhere in Newport, Huntington.
San Onofre.
Fried trestles, it's a little nipple, so it catches everything. So.
There you go. Natalie, thank you. We'll hear your news later on in the program. Coming up next, she's one of the hottest surfers out there, incredible longboarder, an artist. She's Richter. Kassia Meador joins WaXed here on ESPN 1700.
Visit our website, waxedradio.com, to get complete show podcasts and follow us on all social media at WaXed Radio. Now, more WaXed.
There is a house in New Orleans. They call the
Yeah, this is WaXed here on ESPN 1700 Surf Talk Radio. I am one of your hosts, Cyrus Saatsaz. Our next guest is as talented as they get on a longboard, and she's a Roxy girl in a Roxy world, and you have to respect that. Kassia Meador, welcome to the program. How are you doing?
I'm pretty good. How are you doing?
You're what?
I'm pretty good. How are you guys doing?
We're good. It's we're still getting used to, we did a show similar to this in San Francisco for almost 10 years, and our show was always like Saturday nights. And I'm still getting used to this new time slot. I don't know if this is early for you, but for me, it's the Red Bull is an absolute necessity. But how about you? How are you doing this morning?
I'm okay. I've been waking up early. There's been waves, so I've been getting up early surfing every day. So I'm on that program right now.
Exactly. There's a good swell right now for sure. Where are you surfing right now? Where are you?
I'm just up north, up in LA. Just been surfing around Malibu, and the other day I surfed trestles, and I don't know, just kind of been all over California. It's been so nice lately.
It has been. It's been phenomenal, and it almost always is nice here in Southern California. And we're joined by Kassia Meador here on WaXed. Your story's fascinating, first off, because you relative to most successful surfers who have sponsorships, who do well in contests, you started fairly late. I believe you started at the age of 14 or 15. Is that correct?
Yeah. I kind of started surfing a little bit when I was 14, going more when I was 15. But, definitely later in life compared to, most of the kids these days, for sure.
Exactly. and why the late start? What took you so long to get in the water?
I didn't grow up by the beach. So I didn't even live near the beach till I was 22.
Wow.
So, I grew up in the valley. So the valley side of Los Angeles.
Like San Fernando Valley?
Pretty much San Fernando Valley.
What's
grew up in Agora Hills, Westlake Village.
Agora Hills. Look at you. You were the person in Beverly Hills 90210 that was the valley girl. That was you.
Yeah, I definitely grew up in a valley.
I love it. I love it. And then how would you, at the age of 14 or 15, were your parents taking you to the beach? How are you getting out there, and what got you into surfing?
Yeah, that's where I kind of started later. It was I kind of had to wait until I was old enough to either get rides or have friends with cars. So basically when I was 14, I did junior lifeguards. So that whole summer I was just at the beach doing junior guards. And that's when I kind of stood up on a surfboard a couple times,
Right.
And then when I kind of made a couple friends at junior guards. And then the next summer I was 15, those friends that I had made the year before, we'd go to the beach together. So some of them had cars by that time or whatever. Parents would switch off.
Exactly. And we're joined by Kassia Meador here on WaXed. And, I got to mention, by the way, dude, as I introed you, you're a Roxy girl in a Roxy world. All you Roxy girls are just Richter. You're blowing up the scale. But you got that, hot, raspy voice. You're a natural for radio. Is this your wake-up voice, or is this how you always talk?
This is my wake-up voice, and especially my voice after I've been surfing the last few days, screaming and yelling. I, kind of lost it. It's been so good, your friend gets a good one, and you, who it is, they go by you. That's it's raspy always, but it's extra raspy this morning because the last few days have been so good.
Raspy, I love. And so you're the chick out there screaming, "You!" every time you're catching a wave?
Yeah, anytime one of my friends gets a good one by me, it's it's hard not to scream. I hear you. That's what it's about. Surfing's about being out there with your friends and getting good waves and making fun of each other and snaking each other. If one of them gets a good one, you have to yell. It's part of it.
Oh, definitely. My partner in crime, Omar, is on the phone. O-Dog, do you have any questions for Kassia?
Yeah. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. I just got a couple questions for you. One is, so what is a year like for you right now? Are you competing, or are you just loving life, surfing? What's an everyday or a year schedule for you?
I guess, I'm not really competing that much. I did one contest this year that Swatch did in China, and that was pretty much it. I don't really do competitions too much, but just surfing a bunch and traveling as much as possible. Been filming a lot. Like that's kind of, I guess, more my thing. Like as a free surfer, I don't do contests so much, but I do a lot of like video parts or editorial trips and stuff like that. So I've been filming a bunch. My friend's making a new surf flick, so he's been out here all week shooting a bunch of weird Super 8 stuff.
Nice.
So it's been awesome that we got good waves. So yeah, just kind of running all over California, trying to get as many good ones as possible.
I heard that event in China was really fun. I had a couple friends that went there, and what was that event like?
It was cool, man. China's a really trippy place. You know, it's somewhere that I never thought I'd go for surfing, and the fact that there's warm waves there is so crazy. But I'd really like to see it good. This last time we went, it wasn't really breaking, but the year before we went, it was really fun.
Oh, you've gone more than once?
Pardon? Yeah, I went 2 times. This was my second year.
Is this the? It's not actually on the mainland China, is that correct? It's like some island in the southern portion of the country. Is that where you're at?
Yeah, it's an island in the south of China called Hainan.
Okay.
And yeah, it's super warm, tropical all year, but they have a really narrow swell window. It's pretty much between like kind of like October and February.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, the surf industry has been trying to get this China thing going for so long, just because in their eyes they see 1 billion people, which means billions of dollars. And I've been reading about how they're getting, you know, the surf action going on that island that you just mentioned. I'm not going to try to pronounce it again, but in your opinion, like, do you like being there? Like, China's one of those countries I just really don't have much of a desire to ever go to. I don't hear much about surfing there. It's, you know, most of the pictures show just pollution, crowds. What was your take? I mean, did you leave that place like wanting to go back? Was it just something that you were happy to experience? Like, what's your opinion on China?
Well, I guess there's so much of China. It's such a big country with so many people, you know. It's like 1.4 billion people in the country,
right.
You know. And definitely not much of that country has a lot of ocean, and the ocean that it does have, or the sea that it does have, like definitely, I don't know, a lot of it's really cold.
Right.
The part that we were at was warm. It's one of those places, though, that it's so surreal that it was really cool to go to. I mean, there is a lot of pollution. There is a lot of people. I mean, surfing to them is like just catching on. Like the first year we went, it was kind of like we were these alien creatures that showed up with these weird tablets and were entering the water. And then this year, like there was a couple more people that were like into it, and actually like a couple local kids started surfing and this and that. So it was cool to see the growth. My only hopes is that by bringing surfing there, it'll kind of open up everybody's eyes to the fact that they need to take care of the world,
yes,
you know, like
yes.
on a different level, like with all the pollution and industry that's in China. It's like I'm hoping that, like, you know, it's like all of us care so much about the ocean, about the environment, because we're around it all the time and we're conscious of it. But over there, people just haven't been educated on pollution and what it does to the world and the fish and the sea and everything else. So it's like, by bringing surfing over there, I definitely think that it's opening up people's eyes, and they're starting to try and think about things in a different way, which is cool, but it's definitely not a spot to go if you want to go get really good waves.
Right.
Right. And I also heard that some of them don't like to get tan, so they actually they don't want to go in the water. So it's kind of like an edgy thing to go surfing because you're actually going to get some sun.
Yeah, like I guess over there, you know, being tan is like means you're a farmer, and you so, you know, everybody's cruising around. It's like 80 degrees, and they're riding their mopeds with like sweaters and like long socks, and I'm like passing out in the shade, you know. But
wow,
that's amazing.
Trippy. I think like there's a couple of like social barriers that are going to have to go down before really the big populace of China starts surfing.
That's amazing. And you're absolutely, you bring up a great point. You know, ignorance is the cause of 99% of the world's problems. And 2 out of every 5 human beings live in China and India. And if they actually just were aware of how much damage they're causing to the entire planet, like even if the United States cleaned up our act 1,000%, and this is one of the rare arguments I side with conservatives, is that even if we completely like did everything right, it wouldn't do much because 2 out of every 5 human beings just have no idea what sort of environmental damage they're causing to the planet, and they're all in Eastern Asia. And you're right, if most of them started going into the water and seeing for themselves just what they were doing to them, to their own environment, maybe they'd kind of clean their act up a little more. And it's glad you're raising awareness. At the very least, we're doing it right now. We're joined by Kassia Meador here on WaXed, Surf Talk Radio. How did you, going back to your history a little bit, you started surfing at like 14, 15. I believe Malibu is where you really kind of, you got your experience, became good. How did you get hooked up with Roxy? In my opinion, that's like, as a female surfer especially, that's the best brand you can get hooked up with. How did that partnership start, and how long have you guys been together?
God, well, I'm going to definitely date myself by saying this, but I've been part of the brand now for 13 years, which
All right.
is crazy.
That is. Time flies.
Yeah, and it's actually, it's funny enough, the reason I actually got on the Roxy team is because of my surfboard shaper, who was my shaper forever, Donald Takayama, and Jeff Hackman, the legendary Mr. Sunset.
Right.
So it was crazy. I was in Australia for my first time, and my hero, everybody knows him, San Diego shredder Joel Tudor. He was out there with Donald and Jeff, and I was kind of paddling out, and Joel said hi to me because I'd seen him a million times at Malibu, and I knew him, and obviously he was like my hero, and I totally looked up to him, and then got a good wave, and kind of Joel and then Donald and Jeff kind of looked at each other, and Donald said, hey, I'll make the surfboards if you get her on the Roxy team. And so I came back to California. Donald made me a board. I went to C Street, surfed a Roxy contest on that board, and won it. And I guess Jeff had called up some of the Roxy people and talked to them about me. And so it's like it was on from then on. And like that next summer, I went to France, and Jeff took me around. And his son Ryan was like my same age, so we were just like groms hanging out, surfing all over the place. And that's kind of when it started. It's so crazy.
That is crazy, and it's crazy. I'm not going to reveal your age unless you're comfortable doing that. But it's so shocking to me, given like you're aging phenomenally well. You're smoking hot. Part of my bluntness, but yeah, dude, like it is fascinating that you're a veteran. I mean, you've been doing this for a while, and there's no end in sight. That's a beautiful thing, right? I mean, you're still in your prime and you're going strong.
Yeah, man. It's like I'm like learning new things all the time, riding different boards all the time, and that's what's so cool about surfing. It's like it doesn't have the same expiration date as a lot of other things do. Like physical activities. It's like you get smoother with age, you get better with age, and you learn new things. And yeah, especially with longboarding, you could do that forever.
Absolutely. Omar and I, the previous radio show we did, we covered like more all the action sports. We kind of lumped in like skateboarding and snowboarding, and it's fascinating seeing how short of a length of a career span snowboarders have, and to a lesser extent skateboarders, simply because when they fall, it hurts. Right, but whereas surfers, I mean, the one thing you got to worry about more with surfing is just making sure you have sunscreen so the sun isn't just completely weathering your skin. Otherwise, I mean, you can go forever. And you can be dominating this thing. Look at Kelly Slater at 41, still the best surfer in the world. It's insane.
It's crazy.
It is. Dog, you have more?
Yeah, no, I think it's amazing. I mean, what an average snowboard career ends at 24 right now.
Exactly.
I mean, that's when they start becoming a non-Olympic hopeful. It's crazy. And then you have Kelly, 41, still rocking. You got Tom Carroll, still rocking. Martin Potter, all those guys. It's awesome to see. I think it's so cool.
It is. And you're right. Like you don't know how many snowboarders like we have interviewed on this show that now are like back in school starting to do some like real job or something. It's insane. Their careers are so much shorter. Kassia, when you were first getting into surfing, like who'd you look up to? Like who inspired you? Was it the Lisa Andersons? I mean, who kind of got you in there?
Yeah, I mean, definitely Lisa inspired me, being like a female surfer, because, there wasn't that many women in the water that I saw at that time, But being a longboarder and she was a shortboarder, I kind of like looked more up to some of the guys around. Like obviously Linda Benson, because, I mean, she's like the raddest,
Right.
Like surfing Waimea, being the first girl and like all that stuff. And she was like a longboarder, but she was obviously like a way different generation than me, so I didn't really, but I was very much into like the nostalgic side of surfing growing up, surfing Malibu,
Right.
But I kind of looked up to Joel would come surf Malibu all the time. I looked up to him a bunch. Josh Farborough, he was a Malibu guy. There was this woman, Brittany Leonard. She was like an amazing single fin surfer. and she like would shape, her and her boyfriend would shape their own boards and stuff like that. Like I kind of looked up to kind of like people more like that, you know, that were
Right.
kind of like current and doing what I was doing at that time, and like just a lot of like the Malibu guys, really, just because that's all I was really around.
Right, and our producer Natalie Rose, like she looks up to you. Like when I told her we're having you on the show, she was just like, "Wow!" And she's looking at me with just huge eyes at all these names you're mentioning, and it's crazy. We're joined by Kassia Meador here on WaXed. In the last 10 years, at least certainly in my opinion, surfing, and particularly on the women's side, has changed a lot. Everyone likes to look at Blue Crush as being this movie that really revolutionized women's surfing and brought a lot more women out there. But I don't know if that movie is per se what changed it. But the one thing I've noticed is that it's become a lot more image conscious. It's almost like if you want to be a professional surfer, you also have to be a professional model. Is that a fair take in your opinion? Do you think surfing's gone that way? Or do you think it's kind of the same as it was maybe 10, 15 years ago?
Yeah, I think like maybe even 10, 15 years ago it was like maybe a little bit more like that. Like you like really had to like be conscious of stuff like that. And I mean, there's definitely, I think, like a broader spectrum of women that are getting into surfing.
Right.
And that's what I think maybe is like, you know, there's surfing as a general. I think it keeps you looking good. It's like it keeps you with like pink rosy cheeks, like a good tan. Your hair's always looking kind of rad, and you're fit. You know.
Right.
So like surfers are kind of like, I think the most part good looking people anyway, just because they're like sitting in the sun and out in nature and whatever. I mean, I think skill is definitely a huge thing. You know. Obviously, it's like Steph Gilmore. She's like the best because she shreds. Yeah, she's like a great looking person, but she's like a really, really great surfer,
True.
and that's why she's really known for what she is, you know? So I guess I see it and I don't see it, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, I think it's just one of those things that kind of naturally happens. It's not like you're a good-looking person and then that, because of that you go surf. It's like, yeah, you surf and, you know, kind of the sun and the sand and the sea does its way with you, and you probably are way better than if you were sitting at home chilling, like watching TV or whatever, you know?
Right, exactly. And it's a very fair assessment because you're right. You still need to know how to surf in order to actually get these sponsorships. O-Dog, you got a question? Omar. Is Omar still there? He just bounced. His cell phone dropped. I got a cool question. I know, he's like...
I'm here. I'm alive.
Oh, there.
I got one more question. I'm totally curious. How does it feel to be, you know, somewhat considered to be part of this new group of professional surfers like Dane Reynolds, Alex Knost, you know, that whole retro scene? I know, you know, a lot of the blogs and a lot of the people kind of lump you in that world, which is awesome. You know, it's basically, you know, people that are just doing what they enjoy to do, artistically and you know, spiritually. How does it feel to be kind of in that group?
I mean, yeah, like Dane Reynolds and Alex Knost and all those guys are, I mean, people I really look up to. So to be like lumped in with them is so rad. And I mean, I guess it's just, you know, it's like we're like living the life the way we want and surfing and having fun doing it and not worrying about contests and things like that. Or, you know, some people are competitive people and they really want to like push themselves and push the sport. Somebody like Kelly to like do the best, you know, and that's just not my style. Like, I just don't want to beat people. I don't want to like, you know, I'm not competitive in that way. Like, I always want to push the sport, and push myself, but more like with myself, you know?
Right.
So it's cool that there's just like an avenue for people like, you know, myself or Dane or Alex or all the people that don't really want to do contests but still love surfing and want to continue to push everything, that we have like the space and the time and like that people like are stoked on what we're doing. So we have like, you know, an avenue to do something like that, and that we're not putting on jerseys all the time because, you know, it's for people and it's not for some other people, and hopefully we can inspire people that might be into surfing for similar reasons as us, and it's fun, you know. It's like at the end of the day, surfing's fun, you know. It's
yes.
like,
yeah,
I was amped on it like forever ago, just like watching old Gidget movies and like Beach Blanket Bingo and stuff like that. You know, it's like, and going to Malibu, that was like such an iconic scene, and it was about hanging out and playing music and lighting fires and everybody talking story and surfing together. You know, and that's kind of what made me fall in love with it. So I'm just so fortunate that I get to be able to, like, you know, surf and live the life that I do, but doing, you know, enjoying it the way I want to.
Exactly.
Not like being in a competitive arena, you know?
No, you're absolutely right. And it really is split in so many ways between the competitive side and even in just your normal lineup, it's competitive. Just because, I mean, when you have like 20 people fighting for one peak, you have to compete for it. But then you're right. There is a drastic difference between just going out there to surf and then putting on that jersey and trying to get a score. We're joined by Kassia Meador here on WaXed. Almost all the videos that are online of you, if you Google Kassia Meador in YouTube, there's a grip of great longboarding videos of yourself, and you really have mastered this sport. But do you shortboard? Do you mix it up in terms of the different styles, or are you just strictly a log rider?
No, I love riding logs for sure, and I do ride other boards. Like I ride a lot of like different little weird like four fins, and my friend made me this really cool single fin the other day. I ride those little pieces of wood. I kind of ride anything I can get my hands on,
right.
For the most part. Yeah, it's like nice. Point breaks are such good arenas to do that too. You know, you have like a long wave that just keeps going, and you get on something weird and find a new line. It's like that's what it's about, But I always enjoy going back on my longboards, especially when it's perfect.
Absolutely. You're the publicist for Roxy, who helped set this interview up. She said that you're currently living in Venice Beach. Is that correct? Is that where you're at?
Yeah.
How do you like living there? Is this suit your style? Because I don't think there's that many waves there per se, but I'm sure the lifestyle is amazing.
Yeah, it's cool, man. Like, I mean, growing up in the valley, like I was used to not living near waves. So, like, it's kind of like the same deal, but I'm actually closer to the beach now. So,
right.
And it's good because it's close to the airport. I'm closer to Malibu. My family's still up here, so I, like, make my dad play hooky with me and come surfing.
Nice.
It's like it's cool because it's, like, going back to, like, the old days when I was, like, 17, 18 running around. It's like, come meet me for a surf, and all my friends are around here, so it's good, and I get in the car and drive a little bit more for sure, but it's like I'm like halfway between somewhere like Rincon or Ventura and like, Lowers. So I get in the car an hour each way. I'm like in one of those spots.
That's true.
In like 15 minutes I'm at Malibu. So it's kind of like central in this weird way.
That's true. You are. I mean, you go north, there's some amazing breaks, and likewise if you go south. And do you still talk to your old high school friends from the Valley? Did you ditch them and move on to new and better friends, or did they come with you to surf?
Well, only, the kids that I was in high school with, like, once I started surfing, only the ones that I was, like, really hanging with were kids that also surf. So the Marshall brothers, I grew up with those kids in the Valley, and they're surfers, like, still all the time. So I see them a bunch, and a couple of our mutual friends from school we'll see every now and again, like, in the water at barbecues or whatever,
Right.
So it's cool, It's like, even in high school, I was only really, like, by the time I was, chilling, was hanging out with the kids that surf too, and so like all those kids still surf, so I see them all the time now, which is it's just so cool, It's like we're all like way older now and just like laughing at each other, but having the best time ever.
Excellent. You got this suit. And we're joined by Kassia Meador here on WaXed. You got this super hot, smoking, raspy voice. I'm always a sucker for that. You're obviously hot in person. Is there a lucky man, dude? Are you destroying someone? Are you single? Like, what's your story there?
No, I have a boyfriend these days.
Son of a bitch.
Rad. Yeah, he surfs a little bit, but he's a hat maker and just a wonderful human.
Wait, he's a what? Wait, hold. He's a hat maker?
Yeah, he makes hats.
What does that mean? Like he makes cowboy hats? Like what are we talking here?
Yeah, no, just like handmade, beautiful hats. Like he just makes them, and he surfs a little bit too. So it's like when I can get him to not be making hats and come surfing, that's really cool.
Hold on a second. Hold on. How do you make a living making? Like, is he like a street vendor? Or is he like a distributor to a bunch of retail stores? Like, how does that work? How do you make money doing that?
He just makes really good, like amazing quality custom hats for people, and like. There's people in this world that's like, we're all surfers, and so we know surfboards and this, that, and the other. There's people that are hat people, man, and they've got quivers of hats. What's his
company? I want to see, like how do you find his hats? What if I want to get one?
Yeah, you guys should. It's called Westbrook Maker.
Okay.
Yeah, and they make beautiful handmade, like every piece is custom, handmade, and they do a very beautiful thing, so... My boyfriend, he's radical. He's a hat maker, and he surfs a little bit too.
I love how you keep throwing that. You keep throwing that in there, and he surfs a little bit. I want to make that clear. He surfs a little bit.
Yeah.
How did you meet him? How did you guys hook up?
I just met him at the taco truck. Actually,
Shut
just
up.
getting some tacos.
Shut up.
So yeah, he was just hanging out there. We both like tacos, so it was kind of match made in heaven.
I like tacos.
Yeah, it's a California thing, right? Like, so, like, L.A., like, taco truck.
Why don't I meet hot chicks at taco trucks? What's going on here? This ain't fair. I'm not happy. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm checking out the site right now.
Me too. It's the website is westbrookmaker.com. It's literally like just, you're right, custom slick hats. I want one.
They look good too. They look nice, huh?
I want one of these hats.
Beautiful, man. They're so beautiful. Yeah, you guys should get them. Like, I mean, if you need a good hat, all you need is one good one.
That's true.
The one to get.
You're absolutely right. All you need is one. I stick with the same hat as long as I can, and believe me, I get looks sometimes. But this is insane. Is your boyfriend Nick, or is it Gregory?
Nick.
All right. How do you pronounce his last name? You got to say that to me. It's on the website. It's not a secret, but I don't want to say something that sounds like a bad word.
Yeah, no, it's French, so it's pronounced K.
It's Fouquet. I love it. Tell your man to make me a hat. Let's set up an appointment. O-Dog, you want a hat? Should we try to get two of them?
You got to get these hats, you know.
Do you wear his hats? Does he make them for women too?
Yeah, no, they're like for everybody. So I have a couple of his hats that I love, and like obviously I wear hats a lot. We're always in the sun, you know. It's so good to like have something to cover up with. So I'm always a big hat person. So it was kind of super convenient that I started going out with a hat maker.
I love it. Westbrook, Kassia Meador's boyfriend's website, westbrookmaker.com. Slick hats, I love it. We've had you on the phone for a long time. You either want to go to bed or go surf. Before we let you go, Kassia, who's paying your bills? Who are all your sponsors? You mentioned Roxy. Who else?
Yeah, Roxy. They've been treating me well for 13 years. Gravis Footwear is keeping my feet from getting glass all in the bottom of them. They kind of moved to Japan, but they're still doing it. Stance Socks, Rain Optics, Hawaiian Pro Design, still making me surfboards, and Swatch. They're
Beautiful.
A super radical company.
That's a very impressive lineup. We could always determine the prestige of our guests by the very end when we ask them who's sponsoring them. And when you have a lineup like that, you know you're legit. Our producer, by the way, Natalie Rose, she says she has one of your custom boards. Like, do you shape them, or do you team up with someone else to make them? Like, do you make your own boards?
No, I don't make my own boards. But Roxy did a couple pop-outs with me with some of the Donald Takayama shapes. Like a while ago, so she might have one of those, or like I made like a kind of like a log model with Hawaiian Pro Design like a while ago, like worked on kind of a ladies version of the Model T.
Okay.
And so maybe she has one of those.
Beautiful. Yeah, I think she did. Yeah, she was telling me it was like a collaboration of sorts. Well, dude, thank you so much for taking all this time out to join the program. It was a pleasure to interview you and chat it up with you. And you have a website, I'm guessing. Like, is there some place people can go to follow what you've been doing?
Yeah, just like my KassiaMeador.com. That's like the best place. But honestly, like I mostly just like throw stuff out there through Instagram. That's like how I mostly just like, like that goes to my blog and my website. It's just so nice to be able to share a moment like with a photo because you just tell so much, So it's like that's kind of what I'm like on the most is Instagram. And then all that stuff goes to my .com and stuff. So check it out. Some of my new wetsuits are on my .com too. So
beautiful.
The ones I did for Roxy.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, you have your own custom line of wetsuits by Roxy as well. And Kassia, thank you so much. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Right on, you guys. Thanks so much for having me. Happy Saturday.
Yeah, you too. Take care. That was Kassia Meador. And when we come back, we'll do the news. This is WaXed on ESPN 1700.
Visit our website, WaXedRadio.com, to get complete show podcasts and follow us on all social media at WaXed Radio. Now, here's a recap of the weekend surf news.
Yeah, this is WaXed. Brand new Surf Talk radio show here on ESPN 1700. We're going to be on the air every Saturday from 7 to 8 a.m. Special thanks again to Kassia Meador. Cool chick. One lucky guy her boyfriend is. O-Dog, you there?
Yeah, boy. That is one lucky hat maker.
Oh, man. Well, let's get into the news. There was a lot going on in surf this week. Natalie Rose, our producer. You all right there?
Yeah. I almost fell.
I like that.
Good morning.
Good morning. Put that mic closer to your mouth, please. I know you.
Can you hear me now?
You've never heard that before, right? And
never.
Yeah, we can.
First time.
Now we can hear you loud and clear. And a lot going on in surf news. let's get it going. What's going on?
All right. Well, this past Wednesday, it was reported that Taylor Swift was texting standout surfer John John Florence.
Actually, can I put you on pause for a second?
Sure, let's
I
do
forgot,
it.
Omar. I forgot. We got to do the industry snap first. O-Dog.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Want to jump into that first?
Yeah, let's do that real quick.
That sounds more fun anyways.
Natalie, look, this is the second show we've ever done. We're still getting the kinks
We're
out.
a little rusty.
We're all a little rusty. We're getting there. O-Dog, what the industry snap is basically news each week that is featured exclusively right here on WaXed. Yeah, what is the industry snap this week?
Well, I don't know if I can top Taylor Swift trying to hook up with John John, but in the industry snap, deep in the industry, I just wanted to bring some info I found from Transworld Business, and that is the company that owns Volcom and other companies like Puma, Gucci has changed its name from PPR to Kering, spelled Kering. And I just thought it was really ironic that a company that owns a bunch of companies is now called Kering. So it's pronounced Kering. I thought that was hilarious. And I mean, a multi-billion-dollar company, a move like this is huge.
And that is the epitome of the surf industry in a nutshell right there. You have 3 or 4 huge companies, massive corporate conglomerates that run everything. And Volcom, like you said, is owned by the same company that owns Gucci. That is the surf industry for you in a nutshell. All right, O-Dog, thank you for the industry snap. Now, Natalie, get back to the main news, the juicy stuff.
I don't know if Taylor Swift's main news, but it concerns me. But Taylor Swift was supposedly texting John John Florence. The rumors then escalated when the 20-year-old Florence was asked about the relationship on Australian television. John John replied, "I am not supposed to comment about that." He then smiled and added, "Yeah, you know, it's kind of a secret, that thing going on right now. I just can't really talk about it." However, when Taylor's reps were asked if they were talking or texting, they replied no.
So the news story here in a nutshell is that John John Florence and Taylor Swift may or may not be starting something here. Here's a little background real quick on Taylor Swift. So about a year or two ago, she had a concert where she invited Kelly Slater, his girlfriend Kalani Miller, smoking hot little spinner that he's been with for like 5 or 6 years now, and she's like at least 15 years younger than him. He's got it made. And so it's them two, and then pro surfer Lakey Peterson was also in that group. And I can't remember how they got involved, but point being, Taylor Swift is buddies with a bunch of these pro surfers. So it wouldn't surprise me, given that she jumps from guy to guy every 6 months or so, given that, you know, pro surfers are the cream of the crop when it comes to gentlemen, you know, and what ladies want. Is that correct, O-Dog? You as a former pro surfer?
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Well, you know, you have to throw in the component that John John will be the richest surfer who's ever lived. He just signed the biggest contract in the history of surfing. And hey, he's got a little ankle injury. Maybe he needs some R&R, you know?
Yes. Little rub and tug and a massage. Hey now, not in that order. In my opinion, this could very well be true. And like you said, John John is, if he's not rich already, he's on the verge. He's about to become like the next Kelly Slater. The guy's a budding superstar. So, yeah, I consider this to be a very likely story, regardless of whether or not Taylor Swift is denying it or not, because you can't trust what she's going to say. She's been playing this Hollywood game for a long time. So good for you, John John. I'm sure Taylor Swift is a dime a dozen to him, but, you know.
Yeah, get some.
Enjoy the celebrity poon. What else is going on in the news, Natalie?
Okay, we're going to move up to Northern California. Surfers sue landowner who blocked access to the beach. 2 weeks ago, a group of surfers and Surfride Foundation filed a lawsuit against Martins Beach and San Mateo County Superior Court. The lawsuit was filed in regards to regain public access to popular beaches in Northern California. For decades, people used the beach for multiple reasons until the new landowner closed the road leading into the site. The big question the court will have to decide is whether or not the private owners have legal obligation to provide public access to the beach. And just to add, before they filed the lawsuit, 5 surfers were arrested because of this. And earlier this week, protesters were protesting, and they were like walking down the path to the beach just to halt the lawsuit so it doesn't go. So it turns their way and everything. Right,
and the beach you're referring to is Martins Beach in the San Francisco Bay Area. It's about 5-10 miles south of where Mavericks is located. Not a great surfing beach per se, but it's a beach that people for the past 30 years or so have been going to just to hang out, lay out. They do surf there sometimes. But the key difference between Martins Beach and let's say Hollister, for example, which is always like the most well-known area in Southern California, which is completely restricted to anybody unless you get there by boat, is that Martin's Beach had a precedent of people being allowed to use that road to get to the beach. And this is where they're going to lose. The guy who owns this land, by the way, is Vinod something. I can't remember, some Indian guy. He's the founder of Sun Microsystems. So he's filthy rich, multi-billionaire. He bought this land for like $30 or $50 million. And my guess is, and the rumors are, he's going to turn this place into a huge resort eventually. And so he doesn't want people just cruising through there to get to the beach. But he's going to lose this battle. O-Dog, you're closer to this. What's your take?
But you know what? This is in my home turf. I think it's ridiculous. I was cited for walking on a private beach about 10 years ago down in Little Sur. There's an amazing wave down in Big Sur that you cannot access. And get this, the millionaire that owns the property down there, what does he do every day? He patrols his own land. That's how bored this guy is.
Oh.
I just think it's so ridiculous.
It is.
And my whole life we had to use jet skis to get to good waves and all these different ways to get to these private beaches. There's got to be some way we can come to like a understanding or something. It's sad. It's and some of these guys are so extremely rich.
Yeah.
They own so much coastline, and I don't know. I just think it's unbelievable, and the fact that a lot of them are so bored, with their millions in the bank, that they patrol their own beaches. I mean, come on, you got to be so bored to do that every day.
You're absolutely right. And I've heard other people mention that Little Sur spot as being just, they're just annoyed that this guy can get away with restricting access to a beach. Because this is the California Coastal Commission's decision in the 1970s that all beaches are public land here in California. However, not all roads that access the beaches are public, and that's where the precedent comes in. But yeah, it's such a douchey thing to restrict people from going to a beach just because you just want your road to be yours. It's outrageous.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And the guy that I dealt with, he actually, I guess legally you're not allowed to take pictures either.
Jeez.
So he compensated, he took the photos that we took.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he got a court order. It's ridiculous.
It's gnarly. Oh, man.
Gnarly.
What else is going on in the news, Natalie?
Okay, Fox Sports is going extreme. Fox Sports will soon be launching a new cable network called FS2. FS2 will feature extreme sports such as surfing. FS2 is supposed to be an alternative to Fuel TV and will eventually replace it.
Yeah, Fuel's been done already. I mean, Fuel is more an MMA station than what it once was, which is like Fuel used to be like the Kassia Meador channel.
Yeah, it used to be really sick. I watched it like all the time. And then now every time I watch it, there's like Hooter pageants and UFC, which is fine for some people. I mean, I don't mind it, I guess. But
and O-Dog, I mean, I think you've had surf.
I would like extreme sports.
Yeah, and O-Dog used to have like your own surf movies on that channel and stuff, right?
Yeah, I was on one of their shows. I was the featured athlete on one of their shows. Super fun. And the guys who used to do Fuel were so cool. They did a great job. But I don't know if it's the popularity of Moto and MMA and all that stuff, but boy, it has changed.
Yeah, well, it's gone. It's about to be gone. Rest in peace, Fuel. What else going on in the news, Natalie?
Okay, surfing in the Olympics. Olympic committee, committee leaders will travel to Peru to attend a Sports for All conference. The conference is set up to discuss the 2016 and 2020 Olympics. Also attending the conference is the president of International Surfing Association. At the conference, they will be addressing the positive effects surfing has on countries and communities around the world. Though surfing has lost its chance to participate in the 2016 Games in Rio, Brazil, they will try to push for the 2020 Olympics.
Where are the 2020 Olympics, do you know?
I do not know, and I tried looking that up, but I couldn't find it.
Because if they were going to do it, 2016 would be perfect because it's in Brazil.
Girls in thongs, hey.
Oh, that too. And I love where your mind is going with that, Natalie. O-Dog, don't you love our producer?
Oh my gosh, that's great.
What's your take, Omar? Should surfing be an Olympic sport?
You know what? I competed on the ISA for the World Championships, which is kind of like surfing's model to go into the Olympics. I don't know if the sport would fit. It's tough. You're dealing with Mother Nature as far as waves. All that good stuff, and even competition can be, kind of tough for the broader spectrum. But as far as being a sport that's popular in every country in the world, yeah, it's becoming huge. So, it's a fine line whether, it would really work or wouldn't work. But I totally agree with you guys. Brazil would be an amazing place to test it. Not only do they love surfing, they love to wear no clothes on the beach. So it'd be a spectator sport that we'd all love to watch.
Yeah, and the closest thing they've ever had to something like that would be an event that you actually were a commentator for, a television commentator for, the Summer X Games. Had surfing for a couple of years there. Maybe it was like 3 years total. And Sal Masakela was the main play-by-play commentator. You were the color commentator for that. But it didn't work then. And I just personally, I don't see how it can work now. I don't know. I just when it comes to all these organizations trying to push surfing into the mainstream, it never works. They always fail, and this seems to be another example of that. They're going to try to do it. You'd have to have your location of the Olympics somewhere where the surf is legitimate, just to make the event legitimate. Unless that happens, I don't know. We'll see what happens. It's going to be at least 2020. Let's get one last news story in here real quick, Natalie.
Okay, we're going to go to Santa Cruz, where a 60-year-old man was arrested Monday on suspicion for vandalizing a paddleboarder's vehicle. Donald Lord Doris was arrested after a paddleboarder called 911 Saturday reporting that the vehicle had been vandalized for the third time this week. They caught the 60-year-old Pleasure Point surfer by installing cameras around where the paddleboarder is usually parked every day to enter the water. There was an estimated $3,000 in damage to the car.
I still don't understand why this guy's in trouble.
I know the people involved.
Oh, Jesus.
I don't know if there's police involved. I'm out. I think it's funny, though.
It's hilarious, dude. I mean, truth is the guy's going to get... He's a lawyer, right? I mean, I believe that you said that in your news report. He's going to get in trouble. He's going to get fined.
Well, he's not I didn't add that because he's still not technically a lawyer, but he's still if you look up the files of him, I guess, you can find him still. It's just,
bottom line is that if you're a stand-up paddleboarder, it's at this point in the game, there are specific places for you to go. Don't go where all the regular surfers are. It's never going to work because it's not true surfing. You have an oar in your hands, all right? It's not real surfing. You have an oar and you're standing up. You have a massive advantage over regular surfers. You can see the waves coming before everyone else. You can get into the waves before everyone else. And it's what? I mean, what's next? Are we just going to have boats, real boats in the lineup? I mean, I don't like the way it's going with stand-up paddleboarding. I don't have anything against it personally as long as they're not cutting me off. But that's going to happen all the time if they're going to be flooding the lineups. I mean, O-Dog, you might have a different take than me. I don't know.
No, I think it comes down to basic surf etiquette. Just like you said, stand-up paddling, it's really fun to do, but, there's certain places for it.
Yeah.
So be careful. Go to those places. I know in Southern California, they've even outlawed it in certain beaches. It's dangerous. The things are huge.
Exactly.
So, go to where you should go.
Exactly. And yeah, whatever. Stand-up paddleboarding. Well, whatever. This guy's going to get in trouble for a little bit, but it's an amusing story, even if the guy's breaking the law a little bit. Special thanks to Kassia Meador for joining the program. If you missed any segment of the show, just visit our website. Hopefully by the end of today, it'll be up, and you can catch all our podcasts. The website is WaXed Radio. Follow us on Twitter at WaXed Radio. O-Dog, I'll talk to you next week. Thanks as always, brother.
All right, brother. Thank you, and thank you, everyone, for tuning in.
Absolutely. And Natalie Rose, great job with the Weekend Surf Report and the news. Again, if you missed any segment and want to check it out, just visit our website, WaXed Radio. The greatest golf show in Southern California, Farmers Inside the Ropes, is next. I'm Cyrus Saatsaz. This is WaXed on ESPN 1700.
That is it for us today, and we will leave you with a... I can't do it. No. We'll do it live. Do it live. And thing sucks.